21:9, aka ultra widescreen, aka the topic of this video. Do I sit like this? I don't know. Like, what do I? There you go. What's up, YouTube? Jason here with Byte My Bits, and in today's video, I want to talk about my second experience with an ultra widescreen monitor. Today's brand is a brand called innocn. It's like innocent, but without the t at the end. So before I get started, innocn did send this over for review. However, that does not affect my review and or thoughts about the product in any way possible. And with every product that I feature on this channel, you will find a link in the description down below to find out more information, up-to-date pricing, and possibly be an affiliate link with Amazon, because that's how I survive. So this is the innocn 40-inch super widescreen monitor. It has a base retail of $599, which is going to be one of the reasons why I was kind of excited, because 40-inch ultra widescreen with HDR, kinda, for only $600. And every time that I keep checking this thing, it always seems to have a discount. Like currently right now, as I record this video, it's $100 off on Amazon. So $500 to $600 for a 40-inch ultra widescreen monitor of this quality, color me impressed. So with the 21:9 aspect ratio, it gives you 3440 by 1440p resolution. It has a maximum refresh rate of 144 Hertz and supports FreeSync and G-Sync. It does have HDR 400 capability, and I really want to touch on the HDR 400. If you don't know what that means, HDR 400 on the spectrum of what HDR monitors can offer, HDR 400 is at the very lowest of the spectrum. It's like entry-level HDR. The HDR 400 is only going to give you 400 nits of HDR color, which means, yes, it's technically HDR, but it's just not going to be very bright or as vibrant as, let's say, HDR 1400, which is kind of the top-end scale of just that rating. There's other ratings like, you know, ultra black or pure black or whatever, but you can go to HDR 400 all the way up to HDR 1400, just to give you an idea of where this is on the scale. It's at the bottom. I'm not saying that kills the mood or anything. I'm just letting you know that if you're expecting fantastic HDR experience, this may not be the monitor for you. For brightness, it offers up to 500 nits. It has a pixel per inch of 93, which, to kind of put that in perspective, imagine a 24-inch screen, right? A 1080p 24-inch screen with just some extra screen added to the sides. Like that's basically, it's got the pixel density of a 1080p 24-inch screen, but just a little bit more real estate, just to give you an idea. It is, however, calibrated from the factory to have a pro color gamut of 95% DCI P3, which that may or may not mean anything to you, but sRGB is pretty much the gold standard, and anything newer that has more in-depth colors are going to be running that DCI P3. Those are going to be more color accurate and rich colors. That way, if you're into something creative like photo grading or video grading, something like that, then you will be able to get a much better color accuracy with a monitor like this. And since they color calibrate everything from the factory, you don't have to worry about plugging it in, getting a calibrator, and doing it yourself. In fact, they send a nice little sheet over telling you what the accuracy is for every single monitor you purchase. And yes, I mean every single one, meaning that I want 2 more of these so I could wrap it around like my desk, right? And then 3 more on top so I could wrap. Okay, that's amazing. Yeah, I could imagine that phone call now. Hey, innocn, is there any way you can send me like 5 more, you know, just for... Okay, that might be a little overkill. Moving on, this is an IPS ADS panel. It supports picture-in-picture and picture-by-picture, which is really good. Like if you are a dual screen user, which if you're not, what is wrong with you? But if you're a dual screen user at bare minimum, this is awesome, because this is essentially giving you 2, let's call it 24 inches, 22-inch monitors right down the center, it'll split the screen, which has a number of different benefits if you're using something like Windows. Windows are easier to drag and drop and scale and maximize without having to fiddle with them. Yeah, in Windows, you can drag it to the side and you can make it half the screen. So if you're running this as just one single monitor, you can still accomplish roughly the same goal. However, if you want to run this as two actual separate monitors, making your life just a little bit easier for those multitasking things, especially with some of those stubborn programs that just does not handle window snapping very well. And I've ran into a few of them. Running picture by picture with something like this, with absolutely no thing in the middle breaking things apart, that's pretty cool. And it does support picture-in-picture, which I have personally never found a use for. Like every time I try to use it, the picture-in-picture always covers something I want to look at, no matter what. There'd be like a button or a scroll or something. So I've never found a reason for me to want to use picture-in-picture, but picture-by-a-picture, that's pretty cool. For connectivity, you have a USB Type-C that can provide up to 90 watts worth of charging. So just in case you want to run a USB charger off of this, up to 90 watts. That's pretty legit. It also has one display port running at 1.4, two HDMI ports that are 2.0, and a 3.5 millimeter audio jack. So it has all the basic connections with the addition of a USB Type-C that you would find in any modern day monitor. However, there are a few things with this that I actually really like that I think really add to the value of the monitor. First things first is the base is solid metal. I mean, it feels solid, it is solid, it's just metal. It feels really great. It's not some plastic gonna creak every time you move it base. Like this thing, this is solid. In the plastic age that we live in today, everything is just plastic. Everything creaks, everything breaks down. Having a base that's just solid metal and not at least covered by plastic, anything like that, that's just really nice. So the base is extremely solid, but what I really like is its swivel that it connects to. It comes with an adjustable swivel. Because this base is so solid, you're not gonna be wanting to move it around. I mean, it has a rubber feet on it. You have to pick it up and relocate it. So they included the option to swivel. I don't know what the degrees are. Looks about 45 degrees in both direction. Also, you can move it up or down, which is pretty cool. If you can see the glare, I had it pointed all the way down just to try to get the least amount of glare off of my studio lights, but you can move it up or down, left or right. That way, if you get it in the basic place on your desk that you want it, you have a stand that can allow you to perfect it. Now, with any product that I get, I do go online and I look at what other people have to say. Maybe some flaws that they found and something that they looked at that, stood out to them for whatever reason, good or bad. And I did notice one reviewer said that this base, because it rotates up like this, that it doesn't have the ability to completely support the weight when it's completely extended. And I had to test that out myself. And if you see, if you push it all the way up, it's almost an overextension. It does go back a little bit, not much. It's not a drastic change. It's not like if you put it all the way up to the top and it comes back down, it's not like it's gonna come back down over here. It's just kind of a small fall. But because I was able to recreate that flaw, I did want to include it in this video. Another thing is that it gives you the ability to move it up or down, which is also really cool. Especially like my idea is I want to run 6 of these like right next to each other, maybe. I kind of want curved, I'll get to that. But if you want to put one on top of each other, which is absolutely fine and completely normal, you can move it up or down. The base is really great. It does have a base mount on the back, so if you don't want to use the included stand, you can mount it to an arm. That's completely fine. But if you do just want to use this is actually pretty neat. I like it. And unlike the Apple monitors, it comes with the stand and they don't charge you $1,400 for a piece of metal. So bonus. So the second gripe I have, remember the first one was the HDR 400. That's really an entry level HDR experience. And if you've never experienced really good HDR, I would hate for somebody to get into this, look at the HDR, turn it on like I did, and when you see it with your own eyes, you're like, you know what? It's probably better at 500 nits without the HDR than it is at 400 nits with the HDR. So that's the only complaint there is the HDR. However, when it comes to editing, if I'm not doing like heavy color grading, if I'm just doing video editing, having this kind of like real estate in order to have my timeline and the videos and everything popped up, it's just nice. It just gives you a bunch of room to go through and have everything laid out and easy to read. It's not a curved screen, which has its pros and cons. I did some testing, which by the way, Overwatch, I don't know why I did not know this before. You cannot play Overwatch in ultra wide screen. But anyway, I did some gaming. Because it's not curved, it feels weird. And that's the best way I can put it. It feels weird. Like, it does immerse me into the game a little bit more just because the peripherals are flooded with the game. However, kind of looking over it, because the image is distorted and you're not getting that curved screen while you're gaming, it just kind of feels like you're almost straining your eyes a little bit. I'm not saying that I don't know. It's really hard to explain. But when I was really getting into it and I get closer to the screen to really try to immerse myself into the video game, I just kind of felt like I was straining my eyes a little bit when I was looking out of my peripherals on things that are on the side of the screen. And the distortion, I mean, this is game dependent, of course. Everything is going to be different. But I was playing Halo just as an example. And things that were in front of me looked really far away. But I could like move it to the side of the screen and it would almost be like a zoom in. So, you know, objects in mirror are farther away than they appear. Does that work? Objects in the side are further away than they appear. So the perspective thing kind of threw me off a little bit, and it really made me think that if I wanted to get like really into gaming and really immersive, and or wanted to get 3 of these wrapped around me, because I have an obsession with screens, so don't judge me. If I wanted to get 3 of these wrapped around me, I would probably opt in or look for a curved version of this. But at this price break, it's like, wow, $500 a monitor for this? That's actually really good. So it's kind of a trade-off, and this is marketed as a gaming monitor on Amazon. But the one thing I do like with the flat screen is that if you're doing some production work, especially like editing video or anything that requires straight lines and, you know, precision, stuff like that, a flat screen is just going to be a little bit better for you. Yeah, you can edit and you can do graphic design and things like that on a curved monitor, but sometimes when you're trying to make that straight line or get something to line up or do whatever, if you have a really curved monitor, it has the chance, depending on your perspective, it has the chance to throw you off just a little bit. So when it comes to professional editing, workload, stuff like that, there could be certain instances where a completely flat screen is going to be more beneficial to you than a curved monitor. As far as a gaming monitor, I don't know. I think that's personal preference. I guess what I'm trying to say is that if I had this exact same panel, monitor, specs, everything in front of me, and then I also had another one that was slightly curved, and I was playing both of them, like just testing them both side by side, without testing that, of course, I feel like I would probably gravitate more towards a curved gaming monitor. But if I was editing a video, working with the timeline, you know, doing some illustration, whatever, I would gravitate more towards the flat screen. That's what I'm saying. And the last little thing that I don't like about this, and I left the cables here so you could kind of see my frustration, it's going to be this hole. The base is nice because it has the hole in the middle that allows you to route your stuff through. And I understand why this hole is lower, because this thing does slide up and down, and there's probably some mechanics in there and everything that it needs in order to allow it to slide up and down and hold its position. I just kind of wish that this hole was a little bit higher, because everything comes down here, and if that hole was maybe up just a little bit higher, right, I could hide the wires completely, and they wouldn't hang down. I mean, I might have to tape it a little bit on the back. I could do a little bit of cable management on the back, but I could essentially have them out of sight. With the hole down here, I have no choice. I could route them up and I can make it look a little bit cleaner, but if I'm gonna make it go through the hole, they're just gonna be visible. It's not a big deal. It's just something that I noticed while I was trying to route cables, is that it is definitely something that's there that it makes it completely obvious. Knowing what the stand is capable of, is moving up and down, I understand there's probably a lot of mechanics in there that allows that the weight balance in order to move the screen up and down. I just kind of wish they would have went out of the way to make that hole just a little bit higher. So everything that I just said today about this being marketed as a gaming monitor on Amazon, but in my personal preference, probably better as a production or a workhorse monitor, and you add in the refresh rate, 144 hertz. Yes, it is only 1440p, but when it comes to 144 hertz gaming, like that, it takes a little bit. Like my Halo with my 3080 that I have in there now was not even running at 144 hertz. So you have to have a beefy card in order to really max this thing out. And that would be even worse if it was a higher resolution. Not to mention, you know, maybe some limitations of cables. But since I am personally into video and graphics and stuff like that, I look at this as a very good workstation monitor that can game. Well, once again, huge shout out to innocn for sending over this monitor review. I do appreciate it. And thank you everyone for watching. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, as always, post those in the comment section down below. Make sure to check out the links to this monitor in the description. Like and subscribe, and have yourself a great day.